Welcome to Finding Monster Right, the show about finding monsters, right?
Right.
Uh-oh. Adam, did you hear that?
It seems like there's someone scratching in the walls.
Yeah, and it's also in my walls for some reason, even though we're recording this over the internet and not in the same place.
Here, let me try shooting it.
I'll try. Whoa. Oh, damn.
Man, I didn't get anything. I'll try laying some traps.
Just some apple cider vinegar and some dish soap.
yeah, a couple of those around here.
Well, in case you're not catching the reference, listeners, because you can't read the title and you just follow us religiously, which, good, listener. Adam, I'm very excited about Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
I'm very excited about Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
We're very excited about Jeff the Talking Mongoose. And soon you will be too. Nailed it.
Do you just want, like, both of us read it as we normally read things, and it should line up?
That's what we did just now.
Okay.
Wait, okay, hang on. Yeah, let's just try it. I'm very excited about Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
I'm very excited about Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
We're very excited about Jeff the Talking Mongoose. And soon you will be too. I was still following you a little bit, but I think it worked. Okay. So, Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
Yeah, a classic monster.
Truly. Before we get into that, do you want to say, It's a new month, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. It's a new month.
Oh yeah, let's check out our monthly theme. That's the thing we're doing this year.
The monthly theme is...
Breath play.
Breath play. So, December of last year, I picked a bunch of AO3 tags at complete random and hid them all. And so every single internet fan fiction tag description is one of our monthly themes. We've had scarification, we had relationship issues for February, which unicorn, weird virgin hang-up thing. Rava was the whole... I had issues with the relationship between Rava and Vatu.
Mm-hmm. I think this is our most accurate theme yet.
How so?
Because it's all about them voices, them sounds, them mouth extractions happening in a house all the way on the Isle of Man.
Okay, that's also what I thought breath play was.
Is it just like whispering and stuff?
That's what I thought it was. It's not. It's like erotic asphyxiation and stuff.
Oh.
Whether self-inflicted or otherwise, but it's kind of a thing.
Maybe I think my innocent version of these ideas are a little bit better than what they truly are.
Can you keep up, baby boy? Make a lose my Jeff.
All right, we'll see. We'll see if that happens in next week's outing. But let's talk a little bit about Jeff.
Yep, let's talk about Jeff, baby. Let's talk about Jeff.
One of our other kind of things that we're trying to do is reach out to mythologies and tales from all around the world. Yep,
and we went to an underserved, underrepresented part of the world, the British Isles.
I would argue that this is perhaps the most mythical and the least explored British Isle.
Okay, interesting. I would say some of the islands north of Scotland feel a little more mythical. Like, when I picture that, I picture, like, there's one that has, like, a bunch of porgs and Luke Skywalker on it, and the other has, like, some Selkies or something, and it's just, like, a bunch of rocks sticking up out of the ocean.
There is I'm with you on that, but I'm also thinking the classic mythological tale of Finn McCool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was chasing down a Scottish giant who was swimming across the sea, and so what he did is scoop up a big old handful of clay and rock from North Ireland, and threw it at him, but he missed, and it landed in the Irish Sea, becoming the Isle of Man. The largest freshwater lake in North Ireland is what the hole became.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love the logic of that.
He every like I visiting Ireland, there was a lot of just spots where it's like, oh yeah, Finn McCool's here. He fell down a little bit. He dressed up like a baby, and he made all these rock formations, and it's very fun to have your country's of a size that like one giant's antics can explain a lot of the happenings.
I mean, it's not just down to the size of the country. Like, we have Paul Bunyan.
That's true. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would love to see the two of them go head to head.
Ooh, okay, this is another episode. But
yeah, we'll talk more about Finn McCool in the future.
Yeah, so
but that island is where our story takes place.
Yeah, the age of fairies and Firbolg and such happens, and then the Romans come, I guess, and St. Patrick gets rid of all the snakes, and at some point a cat that doesn't have a lot of tails happens. And then the earth cools.
The third one on your list. This is kind of like a little bit of a secret St. Patty's Day episode.
Oh yeah, I suppose so. Did St. Patrick ever land on the Isle of Man in between?
He did. There's a couple tales about it.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's in between. He was British and he went to Ireland, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Also,
Italian. I'm not sure. He wasn't Irish.
He was not Italian. That's like
Patrico.
That's next to New Jersey propaganda, is what it is. Same shit about Columbus Day. Well, not the same shit, but anyway. St. Patrick also cast out the snakes. You know what also eats snakes is mongooses.
Oh, brought it around.
There we go. So
yeah, it's been the antithesis of St. Patty's Day in that sense. But before we go any deeper, you are a flag wizard?
Sure.
You are very versed and have seen many of the flags of the world.
We're talking about the Triskelion?
Tell me a little bit about the flag of the Isle of Man, because I enjoy it greatly.
The flag of the Isle of Man is a triskelion, which is a kind of shape that is composed of 3 armored legs with golden spurs on a red background. It has been the official flag of the Isle of Man since the 1st of December, 1932, and is based on the Manx coat of arms, which dates back to the 13th century.
Which is funny, because that is a year after the events of our story take place.
It is, yeah. Okay, so you think Jeff had something to do with this flag?
Our story predates the leggy flag.
What kind of flag did they have before that? Who knows? You know what? I don't care.
Yeah, me neither. Let's in September of 1931 is where we begin our tale. On this little tiny rock that a giant threw.
In September of 1931, on the Isle of Man, in the hamlet of Dalby, the Irving family, consisting of James, Margaret, and Voiry, who is their 13-year-old daughter, heard persistent scratching and rustling and vocal noises behind the farmhouse's wooden wall panels that variously resembled a ferret, a dog, or a baby. According to the Irvings, a creature named Jeff introduced itself and told them it was a mongoose, born in New Delhi, India in 1852. According to Voiry...
there's a lot to unpack there.
According to Voiry, Jeff was the size of a small rat with yellowish fur and a large bushy tail. I've also read that Jeff was at first very protective of Voiry and kind of cornered her and terrorized them for a bit before they sort of came to an understanding about it.
Yeah, I did hear that in one of the versions of the tale. The father, James, he's like, oh man, there's some kind of rodent, some kind of creature in the walls. Let's clear it out. Traps, guns, making all kinds of sounds. Did not stir the critter. Get it to leave. And the craziness started when he started to make dog sounds, and the wall growled back at him.
Now, this is an interesting point, because this also came up in a little funny parody YouTube song that I looked up in this, where they called Jeff a rodent. Now,
Mongoose isn't a rodent?
A mongoose is not a rodent. Adam, would you consider yourself as someone who knows a regular amount about animals?
I know a couple animals.
Okay, that'll work. I've heard people call every kind of animal I've ever heard of a rodent for some reason, and like none of them are. So if you could help me, I have a little game I want to play.
Oh, great.
Called Wheel of Rodents.
The camera zooms in through a bunch of rats sitting in chairs.
There's like a sexy rat in a dress in front of a board with a bunch of letters that aren't going to be part of the game.
Hi, I'm Rat Sajak.
And I'm Vanna Rat. There's only so many. I mean, rat's just too easy a pun. Anyway, so I'm going to name an animal that either I have heard called a rodent before, or I think maybe normal people think is a rodent. And you're going to tell me if you think it's really a rodent, or if, like, you or a typical, like, Joe Everyman would call it a rodent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Like, you could be like, I know it's not a rodent, but I think people would call it that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what average Joe and what I think is the truth.
Okay, let's start out with the $100 question. Rat.
I rodent.
Okay, good.
Joe and I agree.
Yes. Squirrel.
I think we're in agreement that is a rodent.
That is correct. Capybara.
Ooh, capybara. Now, I in my heart of hearts, I believe it's a rodent, the world's largest rodent. I think I heard that factoid once upon a time, but your average person might say, like, no, that's some kind of mammal.
Okay. I will. That's a good point. Capybara is the world's largest rodent, and a rodent is a kind of mammal.
Okay.
So.
Then I guess, Yeah, we're both a little wrong.
No, you were perfectly right in your heart of hearts, and the average person on the street would say mammal. That's like saying, like, hey, is this a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? No, it's a sandwich.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's keep rolling.
Okay, ferret.
Ooh, a ferret. I think it's a rodent.
Ooh, sorry, no. A ferret is a carnivoran.
Yeah, they'll teach you those in health class.
That is a member of the weasel family of products. That is over there on the dog side of the family tree.
Got it. So the way my brain works is that there's rodents and then there's things that eat rodents, and the things that eat the things that aren't rodents shouldn't be rodents.
Okay. Raccoon.
Ooh, I want to say just a mammal, not a rodent.
What do you mean, just a mammal?
It's still in the mammal family, but it's not a rodent.
That is correct. A raccoon is also a dog-like carnivoran. It's a caniform.
Got it. To kind of say what you were saying about the capybara earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll stick to the rodents. I'll leave mammals out of this.
Okay. Would a random person call a raccoon a rodent, do you think? Because I've definitely heard that.
I think it's possible, but most people... So my belief is that rodents are of a smaller size. Like, rat, squirrel is probably the largest people think are like that. And if they're shaped like that, like a ferret, then they are, considered it.
Okay. Sparrow.
Oh.
Is a sparrow a rodent?
No.
Okay. No. It's a bird.
Okay. I'm like, yes, one of those trick questions.
Okay.
But no, it's very much not a rodent.
Okay, what about, like, a lizard? Is a lizard a rodent?
No.
Correct, yes. Rabbit.
Rabbit is a rodent.
Rabbit is not a rodent. That is a lagomorph. That is in the sister group to rodent, so it's not that far off, but not quite.
I've heard you talk about lagomorphs before, and not in animorphs context.
Lemur.
Okay, lemurs. They got the hands. They got the hands. They got the feet.
They got a pointy nose.
Yeah.
They got a pointy nose though, and they're small.
Not rodent.
Not a rodent. That's correct. They are a primate.
Yeah.
Okay. Dog.
Dog, not a rodent.
Chihuahua.
Still not a rodent.
Very good. Okay. Dogs, of course, caniform. Canine. What else is there? Like a bug. Like a big bug and a small bug. Would you consider one of those two to be a rodent more so than the other?
I can see where some of the terminology might get mixed up because I can see him as being a pest, an infestation. You could have an infestation of mice or an infestation of roaches. But I'm going to say no.
That is correct. Bugs are not rodents. They're different things. I don't know where the line is. I have no context. A fox.
No.
Okay. Shrew.
Ooh. Yes.
No.
Ah.
A shrew is not a rodent. That is a whole different kind of... that is a sort of insectivoran mammal. Also, mole.
No.
No. That's also an insectivoran. Hedgehog.
No.
Insectivore. Good. Hamster.
I want to thinking of an insectivore, but I'm going to say yes.
Yes, a hamster is a kind of rodent, and it is also the translation of my last name, Hamyak, into English, is hamster. So I'm the most qualified to run this game.
More so than Rat Sajak?
More so than Rat Sajak. So congratulations, you win the $1 billion prize, I guess.
Hey.
Bam, 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 bam.
Okay, so yes, I think people confuse a lot of things for rodents.
Yep, that was the point of that whole bit.
You did not mention Mongoose during the whole game show.
I did not mention Mongoose, no, because we established that wasn't a rodent at the beginning.
Fair enough.
Yeah, a mongoose is a feliform carnivoran, most closely related to things like the fossa, like things that live on Madagascar, and following
Simba's dead.
Yeah, following that, they're closely related to hyenas, the civets, the genets, all that good stuff, and pretty closely related to the true cats as well. So a mongoose like Jeff, which I identified based on the fact that he was born in New Delhi. And based on images of him, he is most like an animal called a ruddy mongoose.
Ruddy mongoose. Let's take a peek.
Make sure to turn safe search off for that.
Yeah, no, this is not a safe creature.
No,
this is a pointed, dangerous mongoose. Let me tell you.
This is the kind of mongoose where if it started telling you riddles or some shit, you wouldn't even be like, "That's wrong."
Yeah, no, this is one of them cobra fighting mongoose.
This is one of them cobra fighting boys. Bleh, words are hard.
Yeah, okay. So this is the creature that, per its own definition, it lives within the walls of the Irving family household.
Yes, but he wasn't exactly a mongoose, was he?
No. Oh, he can speak.
Yes.
And at first, that his description was that I can speak because I'm an extra clever mongoose.
And later he kind of changed it around to earthbound spirit, a ghost in the form of a mongoose, and once said, "I am a freak. I have hands and I have feet, and if you saw me you'd faint, you'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone or a pillar of salt. Jeff!"
Which is first of all, badass line.
I'll find that voice. It's starting at Gollum, but it'll go somewhere else.
I believe that to be a Jeff. Yeah, but it's suddenly I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just me being in the house at night, but I'm the idea of something in the wall scratching and calling itself a freak that would petrify and mummify me.
I have hands and I have feet.
Yes, having hands and feet's also a little off. But this
it's a weird brag.
Yeah, the reason why we're talking about Jeff is because of this kind of the Dalby spook, as it was called, is that it's a spooky tale of some kind of supernatural occurrence.
Yes,
it got the attention of ghost hunters and other kind of supernatural investigators.
There were always people trying to come and get a peek at Jeff in it. of like there were tabloid publishers, and there were, lay visitors. There were like parapsychologists and stuff, and like paranormal investigators and everything. And they would find footprints or stains on the wall or hair samples. Most of them ended up being the Irving sheepdog. And like people would come away being like, Jeff's totally real, isn't it? And other people would come away being like, I don't know, man.
I do want to highlight the at this time in history, it's like, there's those kind of, I would call it Lovecraftian turn of the century like types of paranormal investigators. Then you've got your like historic Renaissance ones like John Dee and that do supernatural stuff. There's this like, I guess, forgotten era of parapsychologists that like really like hone in their craft in jolly old England, apparently.
Yeah.
With such wonderful names as Harry Price, Hereward Carrington, and Nandor Fodor.
These are some wild names.
Some Star Wars wilding ass shit there.
Yeah. A lot of these also come from the era of spiritualism.
Yes.
Things like seances and ectoplasm and all that good stuff, which actually I've been looking into a lot of the history of that in Philadelphia, because around a little before this time, more so, it was really like kicking up a storm over here in the States.
Oh, yeah. It was also, I think, an effect at the time of tabloid printing.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, they were looking for something interesting to talk about, and a family that claims to have a talking mongoose living in their walls became the kind of talk of the town.
Yeah. Nandor Fodor, specifically. Fodor. Nandor Fodor. Nandor Fodor, specifically, research officer for the International Institute of Physical Research, stayed at the Irving's house for a week without seeing or hearing Jeff. Fodor did not believe deliberate deception had occurred and molded a complex psychological theory to explain that Fodor. That's hard to not say Fodor.
But he believed that it was a DID thing. That there's a dissociative thing going on with Jim Irving.
Which... that Jeff was not really so much Jeff so much as just like a split off part of Jim Irving's personality, which he kind of extrapolated as an external force rather than an internal one, which that rings gratuitously true for me, being as that has happened to me, as we've talked about on the podcast before.
Yes, understandable. But I think to contrast it, I think the fact that his whole family, including the daughter, who was big on Jeff until like her last days in 2005, them having a whole shared mythology of Jeff was very interesting.
Yeah, it was stated in this interview that I read with her that like she and her mother got really tired of Jeff after a while. Like her dad was like, what a neat thing. And then meanwhile, she's getting like bullied at school and shit.
Yeah, that does not sound a lot of fun.
They wound up not being able to sell the farm when they were done with it because like it had a reputation for being haunted.
That's unfortunate. That's because I think nowadays that's almost more of a selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the ghost. Like if you're talking about like a friendly like Casper type or some kind of like little bugger that lives in the walls and scratches and sings songs, then that's a little bit different story.
I am a freak, I have hands and I have feet.
If he played like little like piano music throughout the night, he'd be more like welcome.
That'd be fun. So, let's assume that Jeff is a monster, a real monster, and not just a psychic construction of James Irving's, and then maybe shared between the different Irvings. That's an interesting idea, actually. Just like a split, like every single one of the Irvings that believed in Jeff kind of contributed, kind of like bounced ideas off of each other and like created this amalgam entity of what Jeff is.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why at first he was so possessive of Voiry, and then later they kind of became friends about it.
It reminds me a little bit of the I'm sorry, what's that alien visitation that happened on the farm?
Somethingville.
Hopkinsville, yeah.
Yeah, the Hopscotch Goblin encounter.
Yeah, it's a little bit about that encounter. It strikes a chord with me, as in, like, if there's something, like, there's something out of the ordinary here that, like, everyone in the family might be picking up something different on.
Just like a weird thing in the walls, and like it starts out as like a family joke about Jeff, and everybody kind of adds a different part of the joke, except instead of a joke, it's like something that at some point someone actually believes that it's some kind of ghost, and then it just spirals and keeps getting details, and then it's a mongoose born in India in 1852.
Yes, no, this sounds not unlike inside jokes that have grown around in places that I've lived.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if our show has its own, like, Jeff the Talking Mongooses in a way.
Don't put that on us.
But I would like to talk a little bit about, to get the bigger picture, talk about some of Jeff's habits. So, some of the claims that they made about Jeff is that he guards their house and informs them of guests approaching or unfamiliar dogs.
Woof woof, Irvings.
Yeah, they also talk about how Jeff would eventually start traveling to town with them.
Cute.
When they would go and, like, he would hide behind, like, large hedges, pay attention to things, and eventually would start going on his own and picking up town gossip.
Cute. So cute. Love a familiar.
Yeah. He's a little familiar guy.
He is. He's a familiar.
He would have the role of a cat around the house. And so, but he would rather, like, trick them and scare them than outright kill them.
The mice, you mean?
Yeah, the mice, yeah.
Yeah. You forgot to mention the mice in that equation.
Oh, sorry. When mice showed up, he would, he would trick them instead of killing them.
Yeah, he would be like the cat. He would assume the role of the cat in the way that, like, a cat has a role on, like, a ship or something.
Or like Tom and Jerry. Like, that's what he would do.
Alex needs to get a cat for her and Simmy's pirate ship in D&D.
It'd probably be named Grace.
It will be named Grace, yes.
So his diet consisted of biscuits, chocolates, and bananas.
Chocolate being even more poisonous to cats than it is to dogs, and as a feliform, I'm pretty sure that would kill the Jeff.
Okay, so putting this together, I have a crazy theory for you that Jeff is not, in fact, a mongoose.
Okay.
A mongoose might be the shape that he's in, or it might be, like, these other concepts of an earthbound spirit. I think there's something a little more there that's worth digging into.
I think when he says, I'm an earthbound spirit, I'm an earthbound spirit, I'm the ghost and force of a mongoose, I'm a freak, get away from me. I think that's just him trying to, like, scare them and hide.
Yeah, him trying to say something that gets them off his case. Which is weird, because this encounter is, like, he does a full heel turn. He goes from, like, I'm a spook in the walls, to, hey, I'm your friendly, I'm like a pet.
Well, it's a face turn.
Face turn, yeah.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
Heel turn. The opposite.
Oh, yes, a face turn.
Yeah.
Oh, well, before I get too much further, I have a question for you.
Yes?
I've been listening to some old episodes of ours. Jeff the Talking Mongoose. Therapist, therapy animal, or needs therapy?
Needs therapy. Why are you hiding so much? If you're really friends with them, just come out of the walls.
Yeah, there's something not right about him. So, I looked into some mythology in the region of the Isle of Man.
Oh, interesting.
There are a lot of mythological creatures in Manx tradition. I will say, a lot of them are either water-dwelling, because island, go figure, or kind of big and bowl-shaped, or horse-shaped, or dog-shaped, all clearly larger than something that can fit behind the walls. There is one, which I would love to do an episode on, but there's not enough information in the world about Jimmy Squarefoot. Jimmy Squarefoot has a human body, a pig head, and boar tusks.
It sounds like a weird Nickelodeon mashup.
It does. He's a peaceful wanderer, ridden by a race of stone-thrown giants at one point. Yeah, so he's just a little guy that has a boar head. But the mythological creature that came to mind, most importantly for Jeff, is the. Let me get this out here. Yeah. The Muinjer Vegi.
The Muinjer Vegi?
Yep. The Muinjer Vegi.
What on earth is that?
It's like a fairy.
Okay.
It's the Manx phrase for little people. And, we were talking fae in the Gaelic lore. So, these guys, little, about 2-3 feet in height.
That's way bigger than Jeff still.
I know, but hear me out. Small in size, and they are mischievous and spiteful. Here's the important thing. Here's the big connection that I had. Jeff, our talking Mongoose friend, would do a couple tasks around the house for the Irving family. Mm-hmm. One of which is that when they forgot to put the fire out at night around the stove, Jeff would go down and stop the stove, turn it off. These fae folk, in the long history of the Isle of Man, their belief in them was widespread. They lived in the green hillsides near farmlands. They're entranced by music, and they would. It was an old custom, to keep a fire burning in the house during the night, so that fairies might come to enjoy it. They would retreat to it. They would watch it as the embers slowly go out one by one. That was like a pastime for them. And another important thing is the love of music. Jeff, who their relationship first started with him kind of making animal noises and stuff like that, would eventually start repeating songs and nursery rhymes that Voiri would teach him. And like a shitty parrot would kind of keep him up and going, especially when they're trying to fall asleep at night. So the love of music is there, and the fire enjoyment is also.
That is an interesting possibility. I have my own theory over here.
You do tell.
First off, I think it should be mentioned that Jeff is often included in poltergeist lore, where a poltergeist is a kind of spirit from Germanic mythology or folklore that just kind of screws around and gremlins with everything and knocks over dishes and does silly jokes and stuff, which seems to be Jeff's kind of MO.
Yeah, he seems like a little bugger.
Yeah, except a poltergeist is never seen, and Jeff didn't really break stuff as much as kind of just torment them and help around the house a bit.
Yeah. And so, okay.
Honestly, the Fairfolk angle makes a little more sense, but my thought was Jeff is not just some random, weasel or something from Europe. Jeff is a mongoose born in New Delhi, India in 1852.
Which is weird. It's just a crazy poll.
It is, but also this was, around the time that Orientalism was big. A lot of that ties into the spiritualist movement, right? With occult symbols being just reappropriated Egyptian things. This is around the time when this was maybe a few decades past, when mummies were big in the news. 1925 is the Carter expedition that opened King Tut's tomb and all that. Mm-hmm. And mummifagi and all that. Also 1931, the year that the Universal horror movies started coming out with Dracula and all that.
He does talk about being mummified.
He does talk about being
mummifying people as a threat, as a supernatural threat.
Yeah. Also, petrified is something I would normally associate with Medusa or the basilisk from Greek mythology. Turned into a pillar of salt is biblical.
Yeah, no. So he's really he's kind of versed in his magics of the world.
Yeah, and that makes me think that, along with a repeated fear that he seemed to express, that he was. I'm sorry, I just read here that he also called the mice. He refused to refer to the mice as anything but the goddamned mice. And he also was terrified of being put in a bottle.
Oh.
He was terrified of being caught and put in the bottle. That, the Eastern origin, and the fact that a British family in the early 20th century would absolutely conflate pre-Islamic Arabian mythology with India. I think Jeff might be a jinny.
Okay. Yeah, we've it's been a bit since we talked about them, but yeah, no, that's it's part of their lore, is the kind of being sucked up into small spaces. It's weird because this farmhouse was not always present in this area, but in a sense, the walls and that space in between is a bit of a container, a vessel, in a way.
Oh, that's a good point.
Is he like a genie of the farmhouse?
That could be it. Like if you rub the farmhouse, Jeff goes away, or Jeff comes out and grants you wishes.
Well, that is kind of what happens in the tale. They like start bothering it and disturbing what's happening on the wall, and then they start to talk to him.
And then the fact that it later, like, after you talk to him and after he, like, kind of calms down, you can kind of talk to him and get to a point where he's, like, helping you with chores and around the house and everything and just becomes kind of another, like, hand around the house, but maybe a little tempestuous. That also is very much in line with Ginny folklore. Right,
yeah, no, he kind of becomes his best friend and helps plan his wedding and stuff.
There is one interesting part of that, though, and that is that when the Jinn take the form of animals, they most commonly become snakes.
Oh, shit.
Now, what symbolically in the animal world is the animal most opposed to snakes?
It is the mongoose.
Yes.
So, I guess opposed as in the fighter of snakes.
Yeah.
Versus like I guess the mouse is opposed to the snake.
But why?
In certain contexts.
But assuming my Jinn theory is true, which a lot points in that general direction, assuming that's the case, why would this Jinn take the form of an animal that routinely eats the animal that Jinn are most associated with?
First of all, you've heard Jeff.
Yeah.
I would call this your average everyday little haunter buddy. Like he's got a mouth on him.
He does.
And he has traveled all the way to the Isle of Man. Like this is not his point of origin, even by his own like words.
He keeps doing impression of like 90s celebrities.
Yeah, he keeps doing bits for some reason. I'm reading through a couple of his quotes, and like, well, Jim, what about the grubbo? Like, that sounds like a...
Well, Jim, what about the grubbo? Ooh, That's Jeff's voice, is Robin Williams.
Put a sock on it. Chew coke.
Oh, I'm a freak. I have hands and I have feet, and if you saw me, you'd faint. You'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone, or a pillar of salt.
Yeah, he does kind of sound like he's doing the genie bit. I'll split the atom. I'm the fifth dimension. I'm the eighth wonder of the world.
I'm history and mythology. Like, that's what it is. It also fits my favorite Adam D&D character trope, which is little guy, big voice.
Yeah, no, he does have a real attitude on him. So I could see him. Oh, okay. Hang on. So I'm very specifically zooming into the, like, more so than we have been, the Aladdin genie.
Okay.
The classic 92 film Aladdin, go see it if you haven't. It's I hear it's a goodie. I hear it's 2 thumbs up from Ebert.
I hear it's a baddie. Check it out on TikTok. You can astral project it. Am I cool with the teens yet?
Actually, I don't think Ebert might not have given a favorable review. A lot of critics at the time were like, this celebrity voice bit, that's going to get real fast, isn't it?
And it did.
And they were right. Yeah.
Shit, sorry.
But the in the end of the film, Jafar turns into a genie himself, big snake, diametrically opposed to the good genie. He's a bad one, and he's kind of flung off. He is eschewed to the horizon, sent far away. I could see some kind of different genies, a bad genie, and I'm thinking like bad Santa, like bad genie.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bad genie, kicked as far away from India as possible. Like kind of shunted to the other side of the world, where you might no longer bother the people there, because he's a little freak. He's no good.
Or he may have been taken there. Like, let's not forget that this was, an era of colonialism.
He does feel a bit like I would call him like a villain, like kind of trapped in a small form.
Did you
listen to this Jeff quote?
Did you hear that?
Oh, no, I did not.
Huh. It was probably just some interference. We're okay.
So, listen to this Jeff quote. I am not evil. I could be if I wanted.
I'm not evil, but I could be if I wanted.
You don't know what damage or harm I could do if I were roused. I could kill you all, but I won't.
Me?
Yeah. It sounds a bit like a little, like, kind of Jafar trapped in the form of a mongoose.
Give that to Robin, though.
I'm not evil. I could be if I wanted. Ooh. You know what damage or harm I could do if I was roused. I'll kill you all, but I won't.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He's loud.
Yes.
Might be more of a John Mulaney line, now that I'm thinking about it.
I could kill you all if I wanted to, but I'm too busy having extramarital sex with someone I'm not married to. That's why it's called extramarital.
I could kill all of you for hearing that, but I won't.
What cruel fucking god made it so that my girl voice is impossible to achieve, but I slide right into John Mulaney?
John Mulaney is easy shoes. Old shoes, that John Mulaney.
Ugh. Anyway, so do we want to talk about how Jeff eventually supposedly came to an end?
Yes, let's talk about the end of his tale.
Yeah. So Margaret and Voiry Irving left the home in 1945 after the death of James. They sold the farm, like we said earlier, because it had the reputation of being haunted, so they had to sell it at a loss. And then the person who ended up buying it, Leslie Graham, claimed to the press that he had shot and killed Jeff. I killed your ghost! It's me, Leslie. I killed you. It's me, Leslie, ghost killer. I killed the ghost.
It's really funny that the story ends there, because, like, it could be, like, in 1948, Leslie Graham goes on to sell the farm at a profit. Because it's no longer haunted.
Yeah.
I feel like this is almost a bit that he's doing. It's like, all right, great, I bought cheap because it's haunted. Step 2, kill the ghost.
Step 3, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 4, profit. The body displayed by Graham Face Killa was, however, black and white and much larger than the famous Mongoose, and Voiry Irving was certain that it was not Jeff. So,
yeah,
I think Jeff... Now, the farm building itself is no longer standing.
It is not. It's just a hill where once there be ghosts.
I think maybe Jeff is still out there, eating biscuits and shit, and looking for something new to do.
Either that, or maybe, I'm curious. So, talking about the misfortunes of the Irving family, and the fact that for, like, certain interviews when like kind of various psychics would come, I think Harry Price for one, like, he received a letter in the mail that said, "It's the weirdest thing. As soon as we talked about you coming, Jeff went missing." Occasions like that. I wonder if there was some wishes granted.
Ooh.
Some kind of end deals were struck with Jeff that led to the Irving family falling on hard times.
That is an interesting point.
Yeah, because the Song of the Lost, it really sounds like it makes me feel like the end of the Monkey's Paw tale. Like that's the vibe I get from their history. It's like James dies. They have to move along, but even until her death, Voiry insists that he's real. That Jeffy's real.
It does. It almost feels Twilight Zone-y, but magic comes at a price.
It does. Yeah. It's, dealing with this little fucker in the walls really took it out on them.
Really, the tale of Jeff is a little more tragic than you might think, at first blush.
For a character whose name rhymes with Puff the Magic Dragon.
What do you think a rhyme is?
I like a same rhythm.
Jeff the talking mongoose lives by the... Okay, I guess.
It is a tragic tale of Jeff the talking mongoose. He left his mark on this world in the tabloids, and I love that his name has been echoed out throughout the centuries. By the way, Jeff is spelled G-E-F, and that tickles me the most.
Oh, yeah, we haven't mentioned that the whole time. Great SEO on the part of the Irvings here, because, like, when you look up GEF, the first thing that comes up, despite the fact that Jeff is such a normal name, is this talking mongoose.
Yeah, no, it's a real selling point that they uncovered. So you're doing some moving right now in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
If you moved to a place that had Jeff the Talking Mongoose as described in this tale living in your walls, would that be a good roommate or a bad one?
I'd kill the ghosts.
You'd go straight. Yeah.
I'd probably seance it. I would seance it and get some straight fucking answers out of Jeff.
That's not a bad move.
And, like, a seance can be effective because it relies on, like, hypnotic suggestion and, like, you know, the power of just belief in the supernatural kind of begetting that supernatural consciousness.
Now, I don't personally have too deep of a belief in ghosts or anything like that, but I always cover my bases. Whenever I move to a place, I'm not sure if you call it a straight up seance, but I will, like, loudly declare when no one else can hear me that, hey, I'm living here for a bit. You're an eternal being. You're trapped here. This is not your place. This is mine. Briefly, I don't know how laws work where you're from, but right now I own this place. So please, I'm only gonna be here for like 5-10 years. Just hang out. I won't bother you. You don't bother me. How's that sound? Like a little loud negotiations is what my seances consist of.
That's kind of nice. I mean, also,
I haven't had any trouble at any place that I've lived.
You know, you don't have to leave them trapped there. You can always give them permission to leave, or, like, there's other options, is what I'm saying.
Okay, permission to leave is probably not a bad move. You know, I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to assume they want to leave or they want to stay or they exist. But I want to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, just put whatever relationship you had with the other people just on ice. Just it's you and me now. Right now, we'll just be, we'll quietly live next to each other.
No, I would definitely, like, burn some sage or light some incense, or, like, maybe wield that stone knife that I have. You know, the magic knife that I found in the stream one day when I was young that I will either have to wield as the chosen one or give to the chosen one when shit hits the fan?
Yes, I know that one.
Yeah, I would probably, like, do something with that just to kind of, like, show that I am, an entity that can be reasoned with supernaturally.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
So let's... Oh, good?
Nothing. I was just kind of coming to a realization that I'm a very irrational person when it comes to this stuff. Although I do maintain that it's all, like, in one's own head is the idea. It's subjectively real and not objectively real. You can spread it to another person by, like, talking about it like a mind virus, but, like, it's not a real mongoose living in your walls, and it's not a real demon in my head, Except it is.
Yeah, it's I'm of the same mind. To use the right phrase.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about Jeff in the final rating place. The part of the show where we give a numerical rating for some reason to this monster.
where we give it an IGN rating.
So I personally I love this tale. I wish that there was more, like, kind of antiques from this era. Some 1930s, like, tabloid supernatural occurrences that aren't, like, the boring aliens and, I guess just regular ghosts. I wish they were all this kind of fantastical.
Oh, well, I mean, I've got something from about 100 years earlier that I don't know if it's on the list, but Spring-Heeled Jack.
Oh, hell yeah. No, they're of the same family. That I'd love to talk about Spring-Heeled Jack at some point, but yeah. Something's rotten in the state of
England. Well, it's the Isle of Man, it's not England.
Yes. Something's amiss on the Isle of Man, and I like that this is the big export. So much so that if you go there and you start asking about the Dalby spook, people are, like, rolling their eyes and, like, what are you... Aren't you here for anything else?
Aren't you here for our fantastic Manx culture?
Where we wheel down 3-legged wheels down the hill?
I don't know. The wheel has legs?
You know, like the flag.
Oh, okay. That the Isle of Man is so rich in culture, and Jeff the Talking Mongoose is one of them. I mean, this is the sort of, entity that happens when someone's kind of left alone for an extended period of time in a kind of like rural isolationist sense.
Oh yeah, like I thought it was fun reading that they believed in fairies for like a very, very long time in the same kind of regions. So yeah, no, it's almost like a modern fairy story.
Yeah,
modern fairy tale. So I'm gonna give Jeff the Talking Mongoose 10 out of 10 stoves that are slowly dwindling in the night.
Yes. Jeff kind of sucks. I hate him. He's kind of fucking annoying. Really
He's kind of like
really the Deadpool of the monster worlds.
He's kind of a like a Disney like sidekick that you like hate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like he's from the 80s and his voice is too weird. It's like, oh god, I gotta listen to fucking Snarf for 90 minutes.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, he's a little bit of a Deadpool, and I guess I kind of like the rascaliness of him, and the kind of meta nature. He's like, just kind of like, fuck off, I'm a spirit. I like salt. I go out with you down to the market like some kind of being. I am the eighth wonder of the world. He's got a big ego, and we don't meet too many monsters like that. So I stand by my high praise.
I'll give him like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. I have nothing against that.
And you know what? Oh wait, there's something about breath play in here, kind of, sort of, not really. But they blamed the sound of the talking weasel that the guests would hear on Voiry Irving having the skill of ventriloquism.
Yeah. They did some research and they're like, hey, this gap between your hardwood and your stone, that's pretty big. If you talk through it at any point of the house, it kind of echoes all around, and it sounds kind of spooky and weird. So yeah, if she was capable of throwing her voice in a way, then yeah, that might be the case for what's going on with Jeff.
That relies on breath control. Hence our theme.
We'll explore that more next week.
Yeah. Oh wait, also really quick, I wanted to do a bit of I couldn't do this last week because we were doing a children's property, and we had a guest on and all that. But I have a correction corner from the unicorn episode. I'm putting in music in post.
Okay.
You just got Keenan and Kel news. So you were right and I was wrong. A devil's threesome is not all girl. A devil's threesome is 2 guys and a girl.
I thought I was right on that.
In my defense, I know at least 2 other people that also think that same thing.
Yep. Oh.
The real question here is, well, first off, threesomes are overrated. But also, how do you know that?
Oh, I'm familiar with the internet.
I'm watching you. Always watching, Wazowski. Always watching.
Yeah, I know about hentai, even though some of our guests did not.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, check out the Diablo job for more.
Yeah, it was funny how into it Simi was, though. I gotta have her back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and we have a vast array of past episodes. If you newly discovered us,
121.
Like literally, roll back through any podcast app that you're on, and find and look out for monsters and bits that will tickle you in any era of our history.
Yeah, they're all self-contained, unless it says like part 1 or part 2 or something like that. But yeah, there's no need to get too serialized about it. Some of them kind of relate to other episodes, so there's a bit of a reward for people that want to like tom their way through all 121 episodes in one sitting. Speaking of Tom, the Discord is always open.
Yeah, come on, join us. We talk monsters and other funny encounters in our lives.
Yeah, well, we just technically did our first TTRPG night on the Discord. I'm thinking about maybe doing some watch parties or something.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, once we get like a lot more people on there, even the limited number of people we have on there already, we're growing. But even the people that we have on there already, like we're already building a great little corner of the internet. So come on down.
Yeah, join the party. Come into our walls and speak wonderful songs to us.
Yeah. If you've heard our show before, you're welcome. We are. It's like how the fullest LGBT acronym that I know is LGBTQIA2++. Plus is for like everybody's welcome here, and the plus is like, no, really, I know that you're queer and you spent your whole life doubting yourself. You're welcome here.
Yeah. So join us on our Discord. Link in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So. Thank you, Allie, for another wonderful episode.
You're welcome. Thank you, Adam, for another wonderful episode.
I hope you're good taking to the skies next week and discovering what it truly means to be a hero.
I feel the need for D&D.